So on and so forth. We continue on with my vinyl collection. We are on part 7 within this series. Continuing on with the Bs, and actually we're going to be even finishing up with them and starting the Cs within this part. So really don't have that many bands that start with B, surprisingly. But two things I want to plug in really quick. In the description below, I'll have a link provided to my big Cartel updated, hopefully for the last time, with more items of some records, 7 inches, tapes, and a few shirts that personally I feel like I'm selling them for cheap prices, mainly because I'm not really trying to make that much money off of it. It's just I really want all this shit out of my place already. So thank you in advance to everyone who may be putting in orders real soon. I'll try to ship them out as quick as possible, and also another massive thank you to everyone who has put orders in the past. It really helps out a lot, and I'm glad to know really that the stuff I'm getting rid of is actually going to someone that's actually going to use it and not just collecting dust, within a record store. That being said, if the link isn't provided there anymore, it's because either everything has sold out or it's been a couple of weeks and I'm just getting rid of everything and selling it at a local record store. So that is what's up there. And then finally, what's going to be playing in the background is a little hidden gem within underground black metal that not many people talk about. And that would be the debut full-length by Ella Rera. 2016 full-length that is so good. It's, considered raw black metal, but not your stereotypical just, by the books, dismal, raw as all hell. There's a bit of some unique dynamics with it. It's jam-packed with a lot of melody that it's kind of like a blend of like raw punkish black metal meets shoegaze, and it works really well, and it's definitely a standout that again just no one ever talks about, and I'd kill for a vinyl press of this. So if you're wondering what's playing in the background, it'd be Ella Rera. With all that rambling out of the way, now we can finally continue on talking about some records. First one up within this part is the debut album by Blood and Sun, White Storm's Fall. These guys are a neo-folk band mainly composed by Luke Tromazak that I fell head over heels hard for last year. And I guess the best way to describe it from my standpoint as to why I enjoy this so much is when I started getting familiar with the styles and sounds of neo-folk a couple of years ago. Although I did discover quite a good amount of bands when in my searching for neo-folk, none of them had the sound I always envisioned this genre would have. And, for that time being, I just never thought I'd find that band that perfectly fits what I always envisioned the genre would sound like. But after discovering Blood and Sun, and within the first couple of minutes of listening to them, immediately I was like, this is it. This is what I always thought neo-folk the genre would sound like, and ever since then I've just been obsessing over these guys, and fuck man, just everything about this project, to me at least, is just perfection, to the point that you could point a gun at my head and say, Wyatt, say one negative thing about Blood and Sun musically, and I'd take the gun right out of your hands and pull the trigger myself and blow my own brains out, because I literally cannot think of anything negative to say about them. And although they don't have that big of a discography, there's only like 2 full lengths and like a handful of demos and splits, all of it, literally all of it in my view, is just spot on perfection of what neo-folk should sound like. And I think what really helps out these albums sound so good is the mixing and mastering on here is spot on in every which way, because you're going to get a lot of transitions, a lot of different instrumentals, from Luke's vocals to his guitar to all these bells and whistles and cellos and violins that all come in and out, but because of the production value being just so spot on, nothing feels like it's battling each other out or trying to have like sound superiority. Just everything flows flawlessly because of it. Tracks on here that are definitely worthy of checking out besides the whole album itself is Veiled Lady, Lord of the Spring, and Tides, along with Slaughter the Instant. Just spot on perfection. Now, as I stated, I got into these guys around the middle of 2020, and this is their debut from 2014, so I was quite late to the party, and this was long gone sold out. But thankfully and very luckily, someone on Discogs sold this for dirt cheap, all because he said that the jacket had like some water damage. And as you can tell, there is like nothing wrong with this whatsoever. I mean, it looks near mint to me. Plus, I love the packaging. The jacket material is really heavy duty, which is nice, and the kind of like golden tints stamp they got on it looks awesome. But yeah, apparently the only thing that actually has damage is in the gatefold. He says there's like water damage on this paper, and there's like literally nothing. I mean, I'm one to nitpick and be petty about all this, you know, stuff, always bitching about the most minuscule things, but honestly, everything about this looks pretty much near mint to me. But yeah, as you can see, it comes in a gatefold, and this is the special edition that also comes with a CD with bonus material, some more snazzy looking artwork right there, which is nice. And well, okay, I'll put that back later. But as you can see, the big ass booklet, as I call it, is stapled within the gatefold. So you get artwork and lyrics to go along with everything. And this vinyl variant is limited to 500 copies on semi-translucent red vinyl. Overall, in my view, a perfect 10 out of 10 album that's just as good as their follow-up album, that being Love and Ashes. And my God, guys, you've heard it from me before, but I can't stress it enough. I love everything about this album so much that, yes, spoiler alert, this is my album of the year of 2020. And I say that because even in my video for it, I said it. It's the only album of 2020 I'd give a perfect 10 out of 10. And I told you guys about that because, funny enough, and I can't believe I'm telling you this, when I discovered this album back in the summer of 2020, I originally did an album review for it. And, you know, I did all my takes, said everything I wanted to say, and as I was editing the video, I realized that, you know, I couldn't upload it because it came off just so unprofessional and honestly immature, because I was just overblowing the positivity to it to just like such an unrealistic degree that I try not to be like how I was back in, like, you know, 2015 or 2016, that when I would find something I enjoyed, I would just give it such unrealistic positivity and appraise that it didn't even seem like I was actually talking about music, alright? And I couldn't do it. I couldn't upload it at the time. Maybe sometime in the future to, you know, give the album its due, I'll actually do an in-depth review about it, but I just, the time I did it back in the middle of the summer last year, no, it was too embarrassing and over the top, that the energy I gave off within that review was equivalent to just watching me do an orgasm for like 20 minutes, like, and no one needs to see that. So it was just, no. But yes, make no mistake about it, for me, as of right now talking about it, it's perfection from start to finish. You know, tracks on here like Stone Wrote in Stone, Dust Century, By What Road, which, God, the last 2 minutes of that song, the outro, is just too good for words, along with the closing track, Until the Dawn. Everything, man, just every fucking thing about this, I cannot help but re-fall in love with it over and over again, that I feel like I need to buy, you know, another record, because I feel like I'm wearing out the grooves within this one right now. And, you know, I'm going to sidetrack a little bit here, so if this video comes off overly long, it's probably because of this part. But, you know, when it comes to talking about music here on YouTube, you know, a lot of people I see in the comments say I shouldn't talk about it because I have no music skills or ability, and, you know, I come off like a tourist, which is fucking stupid, man. And this is a fucking hobby of mine, so, okay. But, you know, I've always had the interest with black metal and extreme metal and stuff like that, but none of it has ever inspired me or given me like an emotional attachment to actually want to pick up an instrument. And yeah, I've dicked around with drums, but that's only because I find drums to be the most exciting and honestly most fun, like, sounding and looking instrument out of the bunch. Because I feel like when you look at the drumming of any band, regardless of the genre, it always looks like the drummer is having the most fun. So that's really my interest when it comes to the drums. It wasn't because of an artist or a band or a genre. It just overall looked the most fun to just dick around with. But I bring this up because just black metal and extreme metal has never given me the urge to get up and play an instrument. It's just always been this entertainment output. No matter how much I talk about it or explain the lore of the bands that I enjoy or do reviews for it, it's just always been entertaining, and that's where it starts and ends for me. But with Blood and Sun, honestly, I'm just like, for the first time ever listening to music, this is like the first ever music project where I'm like, I literally want to get up and play an instrument. And I think that's why I'm just giving this project all the praise I can. I mean, to the point that, yeah, I gave it my Album of the Year spot last year. So, I mean, I bring this up because this just came in today. I mean, I even got a fucking acoustic guitar, and that's just how significant this album is to me, that it's the first and only album so far that I want to play guitar. I want to learn how to play instruments. So, yeah, you know, just giving you a little story right there. As well, too, which is really cool, I put an order in with some Blood and Sun stuff about a week and a half ago in the Bandcamp. I got this 7-inch, which is still available on the Bandcamp. Awesome stuff, unsurprisingly. And I don't know if this comes with every order, or the fact that I put in a large order, maybe the small fact that Luke may have seen my video, but he also gave me this handwritten cardboard note with it, which is really cool of him. So yeah, that was included. But anyway, after really dragging out all this extra stuff, back to actually talking about this record as alone. Yeah, this is, I believe, still available on Nordvis. It might be. I know the CDs are, but I have seen many different distros still carrying copies of this, so get them while you can. But yeah, again, the packaging is gorgeous with that like golden tin print within the artwork. Same with the backside. Comes with a booklet with artwork and lyrics to go along with everything. And this vinyl edition comes on gold, limited to 500 copies. Okay, after gushing for like probably 10 straight minutes on just one band, let's move on to the next one. Next up is Bloodbath with their full-length Resurrection Through Carnage. So far, this is the only material I have on a physical format by Bloodbath within my vinyl collection. And you know, I think what I love about this album so much is that this was one of the first ever death metal albums I can vividly remember really enjoying when I was starting to get into the genre when I was in high school. And I think what I enjoyed about it so much was Michael's vocals. I wasn't crazy for Opeth, but something about his growls always just strike me with just such intensity. Like, it's a blend of like being monstrous yet demonic at the same time. I've always enjoyed his growls the most, and it fits just so well with Bloodbath. And sure, their writing and dynamics are nothing new. It's really just paying homage to early, you know, Swedish death metal from the 90s, like Dismember, Grave, and bands of the sort. But man, I don't know, maybe it's just the fact that it's really simplistic and catchy as fuck that I really enjoyed this album a lot. Tracks on here like So You Die, The Soul Collector, Like Fire, and my personal favorite Bloodbath song, Cry My Name, is stuff that honestly I can like sing along to, because there's something about Michael's vocals that it's not that like intense that you can actually make out syllables and words within it, and it makes it all the more catchy. And funny enough, which yes, there's always got to be at least one Maryland Death Fest story within these vinyl collection parts. Caught them live at the 2015 Maryland Death Fest, and it's the one and only time I've ever sung along with a death metal band. The whole crowd was too. It was something very unique of an experience for a death metal show. And one other thing I want to bring up is that I'm surprised. I seem to be in the minority of Bloodbath fans when we come to talk about the favorites of the vocalists. It seems like Michael is always credited as the worst, and Peter and Nick Holmes are considered the fan favorites. Whatever the case, I'm just in the minority, I guess, because Michael's works, in my view, so much better. As for the layout and packaging, you have the artwork of the 4 members looking all zombified. Backside with track listings, more artwork. I believe this is a 2014 Century Media pressing. Comes with a printed inner sheet with lyrics, and this vinyl variant comes on semi-translucent blue. Moving on next is going to be Stronghold with their EP, The March of Apparition. These guys are an atmospheric black metal band that play in such an aggressive, fast way that, god damn, all their early works, this band is seriously really good. That if you like atmospheric black metal, but you want like a really hard kick with intensity, these guys will fucking bring it and then some. That I can't stress it enough. Though they don't have a big discography, easily their best work lies within this EP. Not sure if it's still available anywhere, but if you ever come across it, I strongly recommend getting it, because the music sounds as good as the band name, which I don't know, something about the title for a band named Blood Stronghold is pretty badass in my opinion. As for the layout and packaging, it's really bare bones. You just have artwork, backside with, of course, goofy black metal band pics, and this was put out through Final Agony, which I know that's not a distro anymore. I think they updated it now to, it's called Black Omen. As well, too, I have more material by Blood Stronghold. This is their compilation, Vengeance and Sacrificial Blood. This is just comprised of some EPs, demos, and split stuff of the sort. Basically just everything they've done has been all compiled within this compilation. That's just, again, overall really solid atmospheric black metal with a strong aggressive edge to it that a lot of atmospheric black metal bands severely lack. So I definitely recommend Blood Stronghold to add to your music library if you enjoy atmospheric black metal. But yeah, other than that, again, very bare bones. This one was pressed by Darker Than Black, so of course there's got to be spot gloss. It wouldn't be a back on black pressing without spot gloss, and band pictures on the backside, and just like this record and the previous one I showed, which I forgot to tell you guys, all come on standard black vinyl. And the final material I have by Blood Stronghold is their debut full-length, Spectres of Bloodshed, which, to be honest as hell, was pretty disappointed by this, because maybe it's just their change of music style. I mean, it even says in the back now they are medieval pagan black metal, which I think it's just their styles that changed a bit that don't click with me as much. Because of the whole medieval pagan black metal, it doesn't have like those, you know, that aggressive kick like the previous EPs and compilation demos I showed earlier have. This is more stretched out, tracks are a bit longer, and they are trying to be a bit more, I don't want to say experimental, but, you know, kind of testing the waters of their own sound, which, I respect. And yeah, this album does have its moments that are pretty good, but it just doesn't resonate with me nearly as much as the demos. So I can't stress it enough. If you're going to check out Blood Stronghold, check out the first EP I showed when I started talking about them, because that's where the goldmine stuff is. This, I mean, is kind of like, you can take it or leave it. It's really not that much of a standout. Next up, surprisingly, this is the only full length I have by these guys. That being Blut Aus Nord with their full length, Saturnian Poetry. For me personally, this is the best Blut Aus Nord album, which is very bold because it seems like there isn't a definitive best Blut Aus Nord album. It seems like everyone has their own personal different opinions on which is the best, which is totally understandable because these guys will always change up their sound. No album is alike from the previous album. And I know when you look at not even the era of the band, but each individual year, it seems like they become like a completely different band that definitely, in my view, Blut Aus Nord, for a black metal band, truly are musicians always testing themselves. And I got nothing but respect for them because, you know, the French do it better. But anyway, yeah, Blut Aus Nord, Saturnian Poetry. This, to me, I would say is more of an atmospheric black metal approach, which is probably and mainly why I enjoy it so much. It's the most familiar sounding for black metal fans. That definitely kind of transcends to that, next level style of just tremolo picking guitars. Very melodic, very fast with high energy, but still throws a bit of curveballs your way to, keep you on your toes with the whole Blut Aus Nord approach with it. So for me personally, this is the best by them. But yeah, pretty sure you can still get this. I mean, it was put out through Deborah Morty, and they always keep stuff in print. Plus, it's Blut Aus Nord, which is a pretty respectable avant-garde black metal band, so I'm pretty sure you can find this fairly easy out there. But yeah, as for the layout and packaging, I think it's gorgeous. Love this artwork as well too. I don't know if it's going to show on with the spot gloss right there. The band logo is spot glossed on, which I think is pretty neat. Backside with just more artwork. Comes on a gatefold. One thing I just want to nitpick that I really don't care for is that the booklet is stapled inside, but for some reason they put it on the left, so when you open it, it has to come out all the way out here. So it's a bit oversized in my personal view, having it on that side. As well, it comes on just standard black vinyl along with a poster that is really not all that much to see. Continuing on next to a black metal band from Canada that I've always said if I could make all my subscribers just listen to one band to check out, it would be this one. That being Brulvahnatu with the debut full-length Closeness to Death. For the longest time, this was only pressed on CD, and it was so long gone sold out that CDs were going for like hundreds of dollars online. It was insane. But out of the blue, this label called Death Hymns, I don't know why I always say Hymns, Death Hymns, put this LP out, and I was just stunned as all fuck that there was another Brulvahnatu album on LP and snapped it up right away. And speaking of Death Hymns, they just put up the orders for the latest, not latest, but another release by Brulvahnatu on LP, so obviously I got that too. Just overall, Brulvahnatu is really unique for black metal because, it's labeled a black metal band, but to me, it comes off like, think of like a death metal band that is playing the style of death metal, but is like heavily influenced by atmospheric black metal. That's how it comes off. Like, it's just such a heavy yet catchy black metal band that just has strong influences of death metal. And I know you could say, well, it's a black death band. No, I wouldn't call them that because they don't sound anything like an Archgo or a Beherit. They're way better than that in my personal view. That is just, again, very unique. It's something that's very uncomparable to a lot of the black metal bands out there, so you definitely need to check out Brulvahnatu. But this, I would say, the debut isn't the best place to start because it is a bit raw and it's a bit slow pace of a slow burner, but it's just, in my personal view, another great addition within the discography of this band. So yeah, I don't know if it's still available, but Death Hymns did a very good job with the packaging. So you have the artwork right here, backside with track listings. Comes on a gatefold, and yeah, just double LP, both come on standard black vinyl. And the only other thing I have by Brulvahnatu as of right now that's on LP is another full length by them, that being Menstrual Extraction Ceremony. To me, this is the album you need to check out if you want to get into this band, because the riffs on here just slay so damn hard, and they're atmospheric but nothing too raw or dismal. Like, it is thick, and there's a strong essence more of death metal within this album that just is so damn good. As well too, there's a bit of like experimentation in a creative way that doesn't get pretentious here, because like at some parts within this album, I think it's the track The Gland, that there's like a saxophone solo that comes out of nowhere, and when you have the riffs over it, it somehow works really well. It's an oddball, but a catchy and fun oddball that just slays. I can't stress that enough. So this is the album to check out if you want to check out Brulvahnatu. Other great tracks on here are The Book of Forgotten Places, is probably my personal favorite song, and Hunting Season at an End is more great stuff within this album. As for the layout, the artwork is, yeah, that. The backside of it, pretty sure all this artwork is done by the guy behind Brulvahnatu. Comes on standard black vinyl along with an insert sheet with just a passageway and more bizarre, creepy looking artwork. Then I have this full length right here by Brutal Blues, pretty sure it's self-titled. Brutal Blues is a Norwegian grindcore band that is just crazy bombastic grindcore that if you're a fan of Discordance Axis, you'll love this from the opening moments. And obviously if you don't like Discordance Axis, don't waste your time with it because it is just pure worship of that band in every single which way possible. And one thing I also want to bring up with this band is I'm pretty sure, I don't know the guy's name, but the dude behind this project has so many other projects that are really creative grindcore. Some of them take, just obvious influence of early day grindcore bands like Asuk and early Napalm Death. Then he has other projects that's kind of like, he takes a lot of influence from stuff that you would get from Naked City, like the free jazz, crazy grindcore. Like, this guy is just all over the place with his influence, and the guy's a fucking cyborg, how he can write all of this stuff. But yeah, Brutal Blues is more of like the Discordance Axis prodigy, so overall just solid stuff. It's only 15 minutes, so really not much to say. But the biggest complaint with it is the LP pressing, the packaging for this I fucking hate, because you have, the artwork is this, whatever it is, then you just got backside. I do like kind of like the holographic type of look they got going with it, but what I hate, and I will always complain about it, is that it's a fold-out jacket. I hate this shit so much. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Labels, bands, please, I will easily pay the $5 whatever extra dollars if you just put it in a regular LP jacket, because I fucking hate this so much. And the only other thing to point out here is that it's on a crystal clear LP and still widely available and very easy to get. Moving on next is a band that I feel like every vinyl collector that enjoys black metal is going to have this band. Burzum. I know this is the artwork for it, but it's actually the compilation of the debut full length and the EP Ash. Yeah, I feel like I'm wasting my time here even discussing Burzum, alright? Like, to me, Burzum is a band that if you know what black metal is, just the sound of it, this should be like one of the first names that pops up. And I don't have that much Burzum within my collection, not because I'm too cool for it and it's too, of the entry-level stuff. It's just, when it comes to these big names, it's not like I try to avoid having them within my collection. It's just, I know it's always going to be readily available. They're always going to keep Burzum records in print. And yeah, at some point I will grab them, when I find a good price for it, or I'm just in the mood to finally, add to my collection. But for the time being, I only have this and two other records by Burzum. But yeah, one thing I will say about this album, I would say it's the rawest, if that's even a word, of the Burzum albums you'll get within the full lengths. And it's always had one of my personal favorite songs by Varg, that being, which one is it? Fuck him. Why am I gonna... Yeah, My Journey to the Stars. Easily one of Varg's best works in music, hands down. As for the layout and packaging, as you can guess, it's a back on black repress because I didn't have, an extra $1,000 to just get a first press of this full length. And, just pretty standard with the layout. I'm pretty sure you've seen dozens of other people showcase this within their vinyl collection, so really not much to show here. As well, I also have my personal favorite, obviously, by Burzum, that being Detsum Engun Var. Yes, in my video talking about my all-time favorite black metal albums, this was in it, and I still stand by everything I've said, that this easily has the best riffs Varg ever wrote within an album. Every single song on here just feels aggressive. It still has that atmosphere and ambience that we know him for, just with more aggression and more memorable riffs that aren't as repetitive. And I still stand by what I said within that video as well too, stating that no matter how much you try to cut down Varg with all the controversial shit he's done in his life, end of the fucking day, his writing has basically been implanted within the DNA of black metal itself. So, hate to tell you guys that his influence is going to be forever known within the genre, whether you like him or hate him. But anyway, as for Det Som Angun Var, it's, as I say, it's always been my personal favorite. And as for the layout, again, it's a back on black, so it's just going to come on standard black LP. And again, I only got the back on black because I don't have an extra $666 for an OG Misanthropy press. Then I got what I consider to be the fan favorite, Philosophem. I feel like when you search up the words black metal within YouTube, I always feel like this is going to be the first album that pops up next to D Mysteries. And I think what just works for it so well is this really set the template for what a lot of atmospheric black metal bands still nowadays tries to copy and capture, you know, just the overall attitude and style of, and, you know, like 98% of them fail miserably at it. But this will always reign king to a lot of people, and it's hard to argue with that statement in my personal view. Just from start to finish, everything about this album is stellar. And, you know, obviously the first half of it has the ambient black metal segments, which are just, you know, a staple type of sound you'll get within the Burzum catalog. And then the second half of it has all the ambient works that surprisingly are still very easy to just pay attention to. Usually ambient tracks for black metal albums are typically the intros or outros, but to have a whole second half of your album be this one long ambient track, it still fits the mood just so well. And, you know, Varg was definitely a creative genius, again, if you like him or hate him, for the style during his heyday, and he'll always get a praise for it in my personal view. But, yeah, again, this is a back on black pressing from 2008, so you've probably seen this dozens of times before as well. Second to last up, finishing up with this vinyl collection part, is going to be Caladan Brood, Echoes of Battle. Wow, just realizing it now. Now we start within the seas of my vinyl collection. And yeah, this is another album that you've probably seen dozens of people talk about, giving it high praise, which honestly, it is well deserved. And I'll admit, this album has kind of aged like fine wine because, damn, come to think of it, this was released in 2013, I'm pretty sure. And here we are now 8 years later, and there still hasn't been a follow-up. So we're all, I feel like, still eagerly awaiting to see if Caladan Brood will produce another album. But yeah, you've all heard before, this is basically, by the books, pure, unadulterated summoning worship at its finest. Alright, with the sea of all the wannabe summoning bands that can't capture the might and triumph of the greatest band ever, I mean, of summoning, Caladan Brood definitely makes it a respectable take on it, and they did a phenomenal job with it. Now, tracks on here that are really good are Echoes of Battle, the title track. Wild Autumn Wind is one of my personal favorite songs, and the and the cover they did for The Passing of the Grey Company honestly is pretty damn awesome. Now, with all that being said, is Caladan Brood better than Summoning? No! As for the packaging right here, Northern Silence went above and beyond it, and I like how they put like the vinyl exclusive artwork for this LP pressing because it's absolutely glorious. Backside with the track listings and more beautiful artwork. Comes on a gatefold, and again, I'm just a sucker for artwork like that because maybe it's just from my experiences, but it just reminds me so much of the Green Mountain terrain within New Hampshire. Double LP, both of them come with printed inner sleeves, and again, just more glorious artwork. So you have side A, side B, side C, and side D. And my vinyl edition comes on white, limited to 300 copies. Oh, and as well too, because they really had to spoil us, it comes with 2 posters, both band pictures of the 2 members. So with this one, you have Mortal Sword, and the second poster is of the other member, that being Shield Anvil. So yeah, you get all of that along with killer music for pretty much retail price. I know they're keeping it in print right now, which is fucking awesome. So again, if you want to get this, Northern Silence, and I've seen copies posted on Osmos, are still widely available. Coming up on the last record for this part, that's going to go to Cara Neir with their full-length Portals to a Better Dead World. Really, really good Texas-based, I guess you could call black metal, but really Cara Neir isn't really that heavily influenced by black metal. Really, this is their only album that I would consider it black metal fueled, but there's so many other subgenres within it that there's like a bit of like grindcore to some extent with it, along with a lot of shoegaze, that I guess the best way I can describe this album in a simple terms is think of either Pig Destroyer mixed with Alcest or Death Heaven meets Annulna Throck, which, you know, with those comparisons you can kind of see why I like this album quite a bit. But yeah, Cara Neir is kind of like a sleeper hit within the underground Texas extreme metal that no one talks about. And I got this for like maybe $5 or $10. They go for dirt cheap online, so you really have no excuse not to get this and check it out. But other than that, you got this crazy artwork, backside with the track listings, and is just pretty bare bones with its packaging, just comes on standard black vinyl. Alright guys, that's it for this vinyl collection part. Like always, links are provided to everything I talked about. Will be in the description below, along with what was playing in the background. And yeah, that's it. So like always guys, take care and have a great day.